Do you like animals? I was thinking this, that you might need a pet or something.
Yeah, we were thinking of getting a dog, but not while we live here.
Like Bill Murray likes animals, like a lot, but you know, like he's one of them people who can't talk to him proper. Like he'll be like kind of like, come on lad, yeah, you know, like kind of really like fast, like
Yeah.
going, yeah, like, and it doesn't make any sense what he's saying, and he'll kind of like.
Does he
you know,
mean
like,
to be that way, or does he just get carried away?
Well, he thinks that's how they communicate, like, and so he'll have, like, you know, like, if you see it, he was round someone's house and he had the cat, was like a new cat, and he was just on the kitchen floor going,
It's funny because he's
like,
normally
waving his fingers.
He
like
normally
that.
speaks quite slowly as well, so it's like
Yeah.
he's just having like a freak out because
Big eyes, just going,
yeah.
like, it's really strange, apparently. Well, it explains that time he was like wanting to like nurse a squirrel. Yeah, like there was this like squirrel got like hit by a bus, like in New York, and he was staying in this sort of like little apartment. He's quite young, like 21, and then he sort of like, you know, he says he scraped a squirrel off the front of a bus, and like had a word with the driver, and you know it was still alive, and then tried to take it upstairs, but like, you know, pigeons were trying to like take it off him,
Right.
and like, you know, he had to kind of barrier up the windows, you know, close them all up, and you know, in the hotel, and you know, like by the time he'd done that, squirrel was dead or something, but you know, he was like kind of pumping at its heart. Probably made it worse, if anything.
Was he making those, like, was he speaking in tongues, like
Yeah, but more drastic, I imagine.
like with,
you know,
with a bit of sorrow in it?
yeah, just and desperation to kind
Yeah.
of, you know. But yeah, you're right. Normally he's quite, would you say, dry?
Yeah,
And
dry, stoned, a little bit removed, really, kind of almost. What's the word? Unemotional.
Mm.
He's not quite finished eating something. In the tone of his voice, like a bit cakey. You know what I mean? But maybe that's something to do with him and his many fallouts with Lorenzo Music, because they both got that cakey voice, haven't they? Even more so.
He says he stole his voice.
Who says? Who
Bill
stole?
Murray said Lorenzo Music stole his voice.
Can you steal a voice?
No.
It's a bit of a silly accusation, really, isn't it?
Do you think that's why he's been talking less as he gets older?
Because you realise he can't quite compete with Lorenzo Music.
No, because he's scared that people will steal his voice.
Oh, right.
It seems like the sort of thing he'd think, actually. And do you think that Bill Murray maybe has aged better than most?
No. Not at all. No, he's aged terribly. He's not that old.
I've got him down as being born in 1970, I think it says here.
1970?
Yeah.
Well, there you go, then.
So he was 20 when he made Ghostbusters. That's pretty mad, isn't it?
No, he's 14 when he made Ghostbusters.
No, it wasn't made in 1984, was it?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. This is
Well,
what I
that
mean.
explains a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that 7's a 5 or not, but yeah, we'll go
Right.
with it. Like,
Yeah.
so
he's 14 when he made his first. Not his
well,
first.
he was 2 years old at university then as well.
Yeah.
But how come he's always looked like a middle-aged man? Do you think it was a style of the time? You know, like most people who start going bald, they just shave their hair off like cowards. Whereas like Bill Murray was like, no way, I'm sticking with this man.
It's been a thing. If you see like The Odd Couple and you look at like Jack Lemmon and Walter Matthau, I think they're in like maybe late 20s and they look fucked. They look like 50. So maybe it's like fags and that. I don't know.
And he sort of wears like bandanas and hats a lot.
Yeah, which makes him seem more imposing.
He was wearing his funniest bandana at his party, actually. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I wasn't there because I don't really go out, you know, like, because parties are for people who are, like, you know, trying to have sex and stuff.
Yeah.
And, you know, none of that for me, really. And but Bill Murray was there, and to be fair to him, he wasn't there for that, you know, like, and he didn't. It was like, you know, a poor house, you know, like a house where we didn't have a lot of money, like
Okay.
sort of.
Was this in like
house.
Brooklyn or somewhere
Sheffield?
in England?
Yeah, weird, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
He was doing a stage show with Oh, what's he called? Kevin Spacey.
Oh yeah,
They were both on stage.
he's got a similar sort of pallid expression, hasn't he, Kevin Spacey?
Actually, yeah, they do look alike in a
Yeah,
way.
yeah,
Like, you've got that kind of like 50-yard stare to him as well.
Yeah,
like,
seen some stuff.
This is the sort of funny thing, is that like, yeah, he was very funny. They said
At the party?
Yeah, at the
Right.
party, he was really, really funny.
That's what they all say when he invites himself to places.
Yeah.
Just, well, he doesn't even invite himself, he just turns up, doesn't he?
Yeah, and just sort of like, they didn't even see him arrive actually. But yeah, the bandana he was wearing, he said he found it in a shop,
Hmm.
and it had little gollywogs on it. Can you imagine that? Apparently, like, no one was offended.
No.
Because, like, obviously he was doing it in a very dry way. The status of Bill Murray allows him to not make any sort of social commentary. And it's always been the way, really.
Yeah.
Like, he's always managed to, get people on his side. And even I, like,
Do you think there's something, like, heroic about him, or...?
He used to read, like, biographies when he was growing up. Wild Bill Hiccup.
Hey?
Wild Bill Hiccup.
okay.
Hickok. Kit Carson, Davy Crockett. They're all frontiersmen.
Are they all, like
leaders.
American fellas?
Yeah, they're all, like, kind of, like, they'd go out and kill the wild buffalo.
Yeah.
Kind of like Hunter S. Thompson, who
his
likes
pal.
as well. People who would run for mayor without having any politics.
Yeah.
But just, like, for the sheer buzz of it. And, like, Davy Crockett, he's got a dead squirrel backwards on his head or something.
Maybe, like, a leather jacket and, like, rolled-up sleeves.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. A sort of tattoo or something, like, Supertramp or someone.
Yeah, something ostensibly macho, but actually gay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you would never think of Bill Murray as gay, really.
No, not at all. He's kind of... He plays incredibly heterosexual characters.
Yeah. I'm sure there must be a film by, that guy, Anderson.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. There'd be a film by him where he is gay in it.
Well, he probably won't be making films for much longer, will he?
Where's Anderson? No,
if
no.
rumours are true.
What, with the actress? And the, toilet stuff.
Probably leave that.
Yeah, well, it's irrelevant, really. Like, it's Bill Murray was never in, and Bill Murray would never be involved in a sort of urination sex act.
No. So anyway, what were you saying about that house party? Was it a house party?
When some people have house parties, but we're not even in a house. That's stupid that we're actually in a flat. It's like, come to a house party.
You're not a fan of house parties, though, are you?
There's always this sort of sense of, like, there's always some Nimrod ready to, like, kind of like, like, step up behind you and go, "Yeah, what's your name? Alright, mate."
There's always some like exuberant fat guy determined to define the night, I find.
Yeah.
Like what you
should...
should...
fat girl, just to not be sexist. Often,
But usually, but that's them usually defining the night by telling you to go.
Yeah. Or by having a bag of coke off her boyfriend that's not there.
Yeah.
And then getting a lift back home after they try to have sex with you.
Yeah.
And then
who'd you get a lift back home off? Her?
No, they'd get a lift back home from a party.
Oh, right, okay.
From their boyfriend.
Yeah.
After trying to cheat on him.
Yeah.
With me, but not with me. Yeah. And but Bill Murray wouldn't have any of that because he's not. He wasn't one bit flirty at that party or anything. He just didn't have to say anything. He just arrived, and he didn't bring booze. Some people bring booze.
Mm.
He took people's booze because he said he was providing the entertainment. Like, what this girl was saying, who was talking to Bill Murray quite a lot that night, is that, like, he would wander. And she described him as having, like, wandering eyes, but not in the sense of, like, kind of looking at a chest.
More just
but
sort
in sense of, like...
drifting away, kind of.
Yeah, like his pupils would just sort of close up completely almost, and then he'd just sort of, like, go... Yeah, you do it.
Oh.
And then and then he just sort of saying, sorry, I was just talking to my mum. And then
Did he explain it further, or was that it really?
Well, no, but he did a lot of funny things that night, and she was looking for her keys one time that night because you throw all your coats on a bed, don't you, like in sitcoms or something, and then she she went on the bed, but Bill Murray was just stood by the door going peering through the door, just his head and shoulders going in, and then he just went and she turned around and saw him, and it was just he just went, I'm just looking for the little men's room.
Through the door to the bedroom?
Yeah, but he was just staring at her, looking for her keys for ages. Right. And then she just went she just laughed.
Yeah.
Because it was Bill Murray, and it was so cool just for him to be there.
What an image, I suppose. So
yeah.
She's dining out on that, isn't she, that story, obviously. She
and
told you.
Yeah, she loves telling that story about that bit. And then, she just went, she was just like, you are? Yeah, it's just up the corridor, mate.
Just sort of hanging about on the landing.
Yeah, he just sort of stood staring at her going, you found your keys then?
Did he cross the threshold?
No.
Oh.
Just his head peering through it. It wasn't, he didn't, his feet didn't, but his shoulder and his head did.
Yeah.
And he was wearing his gollywog bandana, right there. And then she went you're getting hot in your bandana. Yeah, because she was thinking imagine if I get to shag Bill Murray.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be a great story.
Yeah. How old was he when this was happening?
This was 2003, because I was at university when I heard this story. It was before Lost in Translation came out, when his career had taken a bit of a dip.
What I've always thought about Lost in Translation is that at first it seems like it's the writing, that nothing's happening. But maybe it's just his influence over.
It's always been Woody Allen's style, that, hasn't it? He's sort of building up to that, in that film. And I don't think he's done a better film since Lost in Translation, really.
Yeah, it's like writing the writing out of the writing, almost. You just watched Bill Murray.
Well, yeah, I mean,
shuffling about.
He's quite a sort of observant guy, really, isn't he? About
Woody Allen.
Sort of about existentialism and stuff like that. That's his whole bag, is deconstructing stuff. So if he met Bill Murray,
how could you not?
How could you not suddenly just go whoa, this guy's lost in translation?
Yeah,
and then just decide to make a film about him.
Yeah.
If you did that thing that you did, at that house party, though, if you had no information on him, say if he was just some, guy around here, 47, 48...
Walking around with a trilby on, having the same picture with girls all the time.
Yeah, doing that, wearing a funny hat or a bandana, putting his arms around girls, having his picture taken, with nothing weird about it.
No.
Or, if he...
All innocent stuff.
And, he just popped his head through the door of this girl, his girl who could be a conquest, maybe.
Yeah.
Just looking through the door, going, I better go and see what she's up to.
Yeah.
Do you think that you would judge him different to how Bill Murray did it?
Well, the situation would be different, wouldn't it? Because, obviously, she was open to it because it's Bill Murray, and that's an anecdote. And, how many... We've all had sexual encounters for the sake of an anecdote, men and women.
Right.
And so, there's no anecdote in just saying, I shagged a creep last night.
Yeah, he just sort of stood staring at her going, you found your keys then. And that's what she was sort of saying to him, do you fancy a bit of a sort of roll in the coats, Burry? Because she was drunk. Do you fancy a roll in the coats, Burry? And and then Bill Murray just sort of tranced out completely then. Just stared into his own closed iris. Have you ever had that happen when your iris closes completely? You have nothing but dancing light receptors. Static, something out of
I remember once I was at my mum's house, and she wouldn't allow me to watch EastEnders. I was really unhappy about it, and
Yeah.
I freaked out, like really badly freaked out, and I felt like the room ceased to be there, and I could see the surface of my brain, and I could see, like you see like an electrical storm,
Yeah.
and I could see that between my brain and the sort of ceiling of my skull, and that was going on for a bit, and it was all like pink and purple and weird.
And that's not normally, you'd never normally see the inside of your own head.
No.
No.
Like that bit as well, like the gap between, which seemed huge,
Yeah.
It's probably like a couple of 1,000 feet.
Oh, 1,000 miles.
Yeah, who
in
knows?
terms of like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of land to explore in there. A lot of memories, a
Yeah.
lot of like trauma,
Yeah,
and like a lot of like fantasy
yeah.
as well. And like, I mean, Bill Murray's he's not an imaginative man. That's why he's an actor.
Yeah. It's the lowest form of creativity, really, isn't it?
Absolutely, like it's just basically, you get a script and you kind of go, oh, this is my character, is it? And I mean, I've never seen him on a film set, but I can imagine from how he's been described at this party.
Yeah. Just
He's-
shuffling around, really, I imagine.
It's interesting, his childhood, like, because he had like 8 siblings, like massive amount of family.
Yeah, he's acted with a couple of them, hasn't he?
Well, his mum was like, she was a mailroom worker, like going out with a man who was Edward Joseph Murray II is his father. Sounds quite hoity-toity, but actually he was just a lumber salesman.
He's just a lumber salesman from a family with no imagination for names.
No, so they just gave him Edward Joseph twice.
Yeah.
Zilch Murray.
Yeah.
Like, that was his dad. Their family were like, they were both Roman Catholic, and like it's a Roman Catholic household.
Oh,
So, I mean, you'd know a bit about that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I've been both sides of the purple cloth.
Would you like to elaborate on how you think like that might have affected like his sort of like mind into these kind of fugue states
Yeah.
that he goes into?
There's a point, and maybe he came to it later. Maybe that's why his early career he was, he seemed like he was in control and he was quite witty. I mean, I'm guessing that was just, the look of some good scripts. But maybe it wasn't. Maybe there was a point. There's a point where I, similar to when I wasn't allowed to watch EastEnders, where I saw the surface of my brain, and I realised that there was no afterlife. But I was quite late to that. I was probably about
Bloody hell.
19, 20.
Yeah.
Whereas Bill Murray, I mean, it could have been when he was 40. Who knows?
He's always looked 40, so
Yeah.
maybe he.
He's always been 40.
So maybe it happened when he was 29, but he looked 29, so that would probably be when he was 12.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But very short, apparently, from what you're saying, with like very invisible legs.
That's nothing to do with the Catholicism, though, is it? Height.
I don't know. I
That's
can't
what,
say.
That's
really.
what we were talking about.
Like his dad died when he was 17 of diabetes. That's interesting.
Yeah. That's tough.
Like, are you diabetic as well?
Am I diabetic?
No, you're not, are you?
No.
So you wouldn't know what his dad felt like when he died. But I hear that the legs fall off and like, they start like puking and shit.
Yeah, you can have a leg off or something.
Sometimes you can just eat a load of chocolate bars and you're all right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds quite nice, diabetes.
But sometimes you can have a load of chocolate bars and you're not alright as well, I think it's
well, that's
like
just life, isn't it?
Yeah. But like really not alright.
That your leg falls off and you like start like gibbering.
Yeah.
His sister Nancy became a nun. That's Catholic, isn't it?
That's Catholic. That's really Catholic.
Yeah. One of the good bits about his dad like, as his dad encouraged him to, perform. It was always a big Murray dream to, like, kind of, like, like, get out of a lumber salesman business and just follow your own heart and dreams into being, like, he sold very dry lumber.
Very dry, brittle,
Yeah.
flammable lumber.
Yeah. But kind of like stoic, dry-lipped, sort of sarcastic, like, lumber.
Yeah, weathered, like, sallow lumber.
Like, and all the light bulbs in their house were sort of, they were, like, wrinkled and wearing gollywog bandanas.
Yeah, and like
shining with a light that you could barely see anymore.
Yeah, and the filament almost seemed to drift in and out of consciousness. Yeah.
I've looked at Bill Murray and drifted off before.
Oh yeah, all the time. Well, there's a lot to not concentrate on.
But have you noticed that most of his films, apart from those, like, by that director, with the urination stuff, most of his films aren't very colourful in terms of what's behind him.
Yeah.
But so his doorway behind... It's interesting that house party was peering through that doorway.
Yeah.
It was behind him, like, another doorway into a toilet. So he knew where the toilet was.
So he knew exactly where it was.
Yeah.
Or maybe he didn't see it. If his eyes were closing.
The light was on, I think.
Yeah. What happens to him when that... what do you think he's going through?
I know what he goes through, because he talked to her about it at length on the bed, like, so both just sat next to each other on the bed, and he was like, he was chatting to her for a good hour or two. And everyone downstairs was like, we could hear him talking about him, going like, Bill Murray was here earlier. Bill, he was really funny as well. Like, really dry.
He said, I'm Bill Murray. But in an American accent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was telling her about his sort of moment, like, once, like, maybe it was like the moment you were describing, when you realised there was no afterlife, but he had the opposite, I think, in that, he was on set of that film he did in the 90s where it's like that kid and he wears like a sort of like communist hat on and he's like all going around going like, yeah, I'll pop a cap in your ass, and like Bill Murray's like his teacher and he's like just going like, I like drinking whiskey and I'm like, like it's
I don't think I've seen that one.
I forgot what it's called now. And then the front cover's a guy doing this.
Is it Rushmore?
Yeah. It's shite. And
I try to distance myself from Wes Anderson. I think you should too.
But interestingly enough, it sort of feeds into it. Who's the actor in Rushmore? Who's
Jason
not Bill Murray?
Schwartzman.
Here we go. Yeah, so you get Jason Schwartzman, right? But like in this sort of like, like area with like this pond, and Bill Murray's sort of like. He's sort of in his mid-50s or 40s now, so he's getting on and he's like,
It's all the same though, and it doesn't really matter what age he is.
No. And he sort of goes to this like little boat and he sort of rows himself out going like la-di-dee, la-da-da, but in a more dry way. Like la-da-dee,
La-da-dee,
la-da-da, la-da-da. It may be just under his breath.
Yeah.
And he's feeling his eyes closing a bit, like feeling, but he felt quite good.
Yeah.
Like a real spark of like electricity in his head, like
yeah,
like it was building up, and then like he sort of, rode himself out to the middle of a thing, and then like just went like and moved his head around in circles, like kind of stretching the sort of like flabby muscles in his shoulders, and then like he had his oar in one hand, and then he just went like. Whoops, and then dropped it in the water, and then like his eye, he looked up at the sun and his eyes were like closing more and more as he stared at it, and he was like like he was out staring the sun almost, and he could because then his entire eyes just like closed. This is what I don't know if this is all true because it's just what he told someone. So I mean, from the mouth.
Did he tell this to your friend at that house party as well?
Well, he just sort of sat on the bed with her, like if you imagine him sat like he is in his dressing gown, and a girl sat next to him who's like 21, who's like actually like kind of like getting quite nuzzled up to him. Like stroking his leg and going, "You're all right, you're all right." But I should ask her about his legs actually, what they were like.
I bet she won't remember. Do you think he's sort of like a floating head? Is that what you think of when you think of Bill Murray?
You think mostly of his head, like his body doesn't really come into it. Sometimes his clothes do, that go over the body, but in the way that you dress up a gingerbread man.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no features to a gingerbread man's body, is there? There's just buttons and, you know, maybe like a corsage or something, but it's just the head, really, isn't it? It's all head.
Like a cummerbund.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, that's not a bodily feature. It's kind of like, you know, when you see like a fat bald man who's got no features, so they grow a goatee.
Yeah, he's really into his bandanas though, because he was wearing a cummerbund around his head at an awards show.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, can you elaborate on that?
Oh, like his eyes were closed again, and like, but yeah, maybe we could get back to that. Like,
okay.
It kind of like it's more. So you got like, you know, he's at 1990s, like David Schwartzman, that film.
Jason Schwartzman.
David Schwartzman.
Yeah. David Sportsman.
David Schwartzwatch. And he was getting pissed off about. I think he'd rode out because he was getting pissed off with David Schwartzman because like, he didn't say this to his girl, but this is how I interpret it: is because David Schwartzman's younger, and he's short as well, and he's a bit glib, isn't he?
He is very glib, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of, you've got to be glib if you're hanging around with someone like Wes Anderson, I suppose.
Yeah.
How else can you be? Because if you're real and you address everything that's going on, you never work again.
Oh yeah, you wouldn't want to put any taint of like.
You never work like, again.
No musk anywhere,
no.
Unless it's on a plastic sheet wrapped around your head with like holes punched up your nose, while you know you're having a big like wee all over you.
Like, anyway,
so he's out in the water and he's like his eyes are closing as he looks at the sun, and like what he described it as was a cascade of like light just bursting open in his head, like and all of a sudden in the centre of this, it just sort of, the light kind of beamed forever, you know, like miles and miles forever, you know, so it weren't miles anymore, it was beyond measurement. And Bill Murray actually said to this girl, like, you know, if you trace a line through infinity, you end up where you start. That's interesting for him to. What do you think about him saying something like that? So that's how he described the experience.
Well, that again,
if you trace a line through infinity, you end up where you start.
Yeah. Again, if it was just a 47-year-old fella with some talc at a house party saying that to you, you wouldn't be impressed by that, would you? You would think,
no, go
home, masturbate, speak to me in the morning.
That 47-year-old man with talc probably wouldn't say that. What he'd probably say is like, you know, like that guy is like a dickhead and I'm the only one who's good.
Yeah.
And why are you lying to me, you bitch?
If she was upset by that, it'd just blame it on like a software failure or something.
Yeah, he'd send a loads of weird messages, like, you know, like, and then like he tried to ring her, and then she'd say, "Will you stop trying to ring me?" And then he'd say, "Sorry, software error." But yeah, a trace.
Anyway, back
he wouldn't say like, you know, the thing about infinity. I just said that I can't remember.
If you draw a line through infinity,
trace a line.
If you trace a line through infinity. If you trace a line through infinity, you end up back where you start.
And that's probably how he said it almost.
Yeah.
At any rate, I need a nap. What have you done to my bed?
And like, so he's in this big infinite field going back from beginning to end, and it seemed to go on like for a very, very long time. Like Bill Murray says, like, you know, it was 1,000-year experience. What did Bill Murray say?
It was 1,000-year experience.
And like in the centre of that, like in the centre of his immense whiteness, there was suddenly a black hole. And all that Bill Murray was within this field of light was a giant head at this point. He was kind of going like, you know, he wasn't going to let it do it. Because you got to remember, like in intangible reality, he's actually just still staring at the sun.
Yeah, this isn't actually happening.
No,
No.
this is just how he's feeling within
Yeah.
that space between your eyeballs and whatever, electronic field.
Those lines from your eyeball to your brain.
Yeah. He sort of, tried to escape the gravity, but then, like, gurned his way slowly towards this sort of black hole, going, all his flesh sort of stretching from his head, And eventually, like, he was just sort of, like, swimming in void, and he said that, like, the only difference between light and dark is... And then he trailed off again.
Yeah.
And his eyes closed. And then she was just like, I'm just going to go to the toilet.
Just sort of turned off.
Yeah, she just went like, right, you stay here. I'm just going to get you a glass of water and I'm going to
Probably
have
would
a
have
wee.
closed the deal had he finished that sentence.
It's the funny thing is, though, is that she went to the toilet. And, like, he got up. And there's some maracas in the corner. Started, like, shaking them about.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Back to good old Bill Japes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And going.
He's good at covering his arse, isn't he?
Yeah.
That's, it's an instinct.
Yeah. Well, cover it from what? Just being weird.
If you, in the retelling of that story, what's the most memorable bit of it? It's the maracas.
Oh, yeah. So, like, that's the thing. You wouldn't think that he's mental. You'd think that he's, like, actually sort of, like, just a bit zany.
Well, yeah, he's underlined it with humour.
Yeah. Yeah, everything's got to have a joke at the end, even if it's a serious film.
Yeah.
And, what he said, like, like, what he didn't tell her, what he says he saw, since, a sort of church, like, kind of stained glass window design of, like, his own head. And it had, like, David Schwartzman as a sort of patron saint, like, image underneath.
Yeah.
And then, like, Tom Rudd was there as well. And
Paul Rudd.
Paul Rudd. Yeah. Paul Rudd was there.
Tom Hood.
And then there was then Tom Hood. And then there was his dad, like, on the top, but he wasn't down where the saints are.
No.
And, like, then there was Garfield.
Was Lorenzo Music there?
That was Lorenzo Music, I think.
Right,
But he was like, and then, like, he had this vision and he was just like, "Rrrr." But then he kind of, like, found peace in that vision the more he stared at it and realised what a kind of huge influence he's had on the entertainment industry.
Yeah.
He didn't have to do anything anymore because he'll always be the bigger head above these other heads that are going to multiply forever, like little sarcastic Americans.
Yeah, like he's an archetype, isn't he?
He at that point he realised that he was archetypal.
Yeah. Which is it's a blessing and a curse, that, isn't it, really? So the way you've painted that to me, that sounds like a decapitated sort of Greek bust. No neck, just a head.
Yeah.
Floating.
Just as but made out of stained glass. But all
3D.
But the stained glass is all a 3D stained glass head, like made of like marble and stained glass. But the stained glass is all like white.
Yeah.
And like bald. But he said something really funny at that party. Actually, he said someone offered him like a pill, and one of them drugs.
Yeah.
And then he went like, "I don't take drugs unless it's mine." It's interesting, that, isn't it? Like a little funny line. I don't touch drugs unless it's mine.
Yeah.
Oh, something maybe maybe he's had a bad experience when he has touched drugs that were just given to him, and he blames that on the other person, but not on his own psychology.
Yeah.
Which is a lot of people do that. Like people who like blaming other people for their own problems. Like people who blaming say women for dumping them.
Yeah.
When they might have actually just not been very good, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And then lingered around for 2 years just being a dickhead.
Do you think when he says, because he does say stuff that sounds hip, do you think that's like the influence of those writers? Like is he He's obviously into Hunter S. Thompson, who was into the king of the quip, F. Scott Fitzgerald.
Oh yeah, did he like him?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, Hunter S. Thompson liked him.
Yeah.
The king of the quip, as they call him.
He called himself the king of the quip.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's funny that, like, you can imagine Bill Murray wearing that on a T-shirt somewhere.
King of quip.
King of quip, yeah. So
sort of like an orange too tight T-shirt with like faded black lettering.
Yeah, he's got that kind of folksiness, which is why he wouldn't wear his cummerbund around his belly, but around his head.
Yeah.
Like, and it wasn't like, it was a spontaneous choice on the way to the awards show. You know, after beating his wife, he like decided to kind of put the sort of cummerbund around his head.
Well, again, you got to underline something heavy with humour, aren't you? Otherwise, you know, you've got to deal with it.
Was that when Clint Eastwood was making that, like, you know, Beat Up Bill?
He was doing that film about
boxing or something.
The disabled woman who boxes.
Beat Up Baby.
Yeah, beating up babies.
Knocked Up Babies.
How much does a baby cost? I think it was called.
Really?
Yeah.
$20,000 baby.
Yeah.
$2 baby.
Yeah. 2-bit baby.
2-bit baby. 2 gigabyte child.
Yeah.
And so that was winning some sort of award, and like Bill Murray was there for Lost in Translation, I think, or something like that.
Some old tripe.
So he was there with Woody Allen, like walking along, and but yeah, he beat his wife in sort of like
in the afternoon beforehand.
Yeah, so on the way there, really, like, or not even on the way there, but when they were in a restaurant, just sort of like punched her.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, you know, he wasn't actually, you know, like, all there when he did it.
Do you think he didn't realise who he was punching?
He was in the Omega Man.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah. Have you seen that film with that I Am Legend in it?
Yeah.
The guy with guns. And it's like the world's all ended, and like, you know, he's a legend, he's brilliant.
Yeah.
Like that guy with the guns.
Yeah.
And like, you know, I don't think he's ever done note wrong, to be honest. And like, I'd say he's like a hero. Like,
With the guy with the guns?
yeah, what's he called? He's in that Bowling for Columbine thing.
Oh, yeah.
Charlton Heston, yeah.
Yeah.
He's a wonderful guy, him.
Yeah.
Like, full-on Republican and everything, like, and, you know, his politics are just, like, you know, proper, you know, like...
He's like the real Clint Eastwood, really.
Yeah, this is a thing, and that kind of fits in with what we were saying about Clint Eastwood before, and what we'll say again is that, like, you know, like, well, anyway, so Bill Murray punches his wife, but he's actually in the Omega Man, because he's, like, glazed over and...
Oh, so he's crossed over again.
Yeah, and like he's like kind of in all these empty streets, and he's wandering them for what feels like days actually. Yeah. But this is only a 2-minute interval. And
it's like a cat trip.
Yeah.
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 Here's Dobbs anyway.
Ah.
Yeah.
He'll be in, won't he?
He doesn't come in here if the door's shut. He knows not to.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
And discipline him.
Yeah. Well, he just, you know, he's got manners.
On his 13th birthday, like, he wasn't all Catholic, like, in his household, because, like, his mum bought this lava lamp.
Yeah.
In around, like, 1963 or something, when Bill Murray was, like, you know...
13.
13, would you reckon? Or
yeah,
before
roughly,
he was born, 7 years before he was born, perhaps.
Well, he's an archetype, isn't he? He's sort of always been there, really.
Yeah, in a way, that's why...
In his head, he's always been there.
That's why he's always looked old.
Do you reckon you've always been there in your head? Do you know what I mean? Because he's always been there in his head. He's been there since the dawn of time in his head, just floating around looking at that stained glass.
And it's hard to know, like, how long his fugue states have been going on, and how many worlds he's been to, and for how long.
Because if he says in his head he's been there forever, he has, hasn't he? Like,
yeah.
Not that he'd say it.
And if he'd been there for 1,000 years, then he would have ended up, like, actually living longer than...
Maybe that's why he looks that old. Maybe that's the key to it.
Yeah.
Because he's had the experience of a man much older than his actual years.
Yeah, like about 5 million years.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, maybe that's why he's run out of words as well, because he's, spiritually senile.
He had plenty of words when he was at that party, when he
Yeah.
was sort of like, but not plenty, but like at least 10.
Short bursts, though.
Yeah, short bursts, enigmatic though.
Yeah.
Like he didn't waste his words.
And it's all, like someone who's senile, it's all long-term memory.
Interesting,
Yeah.
Long term, as in like you can remember an entire 1,000 years of being like slowly sucked into a black hole,
Yeah.
but you can't remember, why
Why is that a party?
The fact, like he didn't remember that his wife isn't a zombie when she sat across from him in a dinner table and he just punches her in the face.
Yeah.
He didn't remember that.
No.
And like,
He doesn't remember how to behave at an awards ceremony. He doesn't remember how to row a boat.
how do you behave at an awards ceremony exactly?
You don't turn up with a cummerbund wrapped around your head, do you, with your eyes closed?
Well, you do if you're Bill Murray.
This is what we've been talking about. He manages.
Wouldn't you love that?
It's a heavy cross to bear, that, isn't it?
But I mean, if I could turn
Because he's
up
not.
at,
You can't just pick and choose parts of him. If you're him, you've got to carry all of that. Looking at David Sportsman and Paul Rudd,
and Tom Rudd,
Tom Hood,
and like Garfield, just having all them sort of like circling around you as like little orbiting suns.
And that he's also there's a few of them in there though that like the little Bill Murrays, sort of Dr. Moreau Bill Murrays, like Chandler, that guy out of Batman, the first Batman film, the one who's
Jack Nicholson.
No,
In a way, yeah.
more Michael Keaton, but not.
Yeah.
I didn't mean him either.
Would you say most American men?
No,
No.
because like you can think of more men that aren't Bill Murray than men that are Bill Murray.
He don't get on with another Bill Murray. He don't get on with him though. He don't get on with like Jason Schwartzman.
No,
He don't get on with like Paul Rudd. He's not met him, I don't think, but I don't think they'd get on. Bill Murray would just be very receded at that point.
Well, he is a
like,
receded man, isn't he?
But more so, he would be receding right to the back of like whatever's in his mind. He wouldn't really be there, but he would be in a dark place because he don't want to see like. You don't want to be reminded of himself. You don't want to see people. Have you been ripped off before?
Yeah, but I mean, it's not as easy to pinpoint as it is with Bill Murray.
There's this absolute dickhead at art college who used to like copy my hair.
Oh,
Right,
yeah.
so I grew my hair long, and then when I first met him, he had a skinhead, and then he started growing his hair long, and then he had his hair long 3 months after I had my hair long. So I got my hair cut, and then like he got his hair cut 3 months later, but he cut it himself, like I cut it myself, like
Yeah.
I've been for years, and then I pointed it out to him, and he got really like kind of pissed off about it, like I didn't copy off you.
Do you think you were being a bit mental?
No, he was definitely doing it.
It's not the first time someone's like done a sort of pound shop version of you, though, is it?
No. And not for, I mean, like, that might be the thing, like,
It's like someone being online and just going, harumph, 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 harumph.
Exactly, yeah.
It's not good enough, is
Dressed in a little kind of, like, Victorian waistcoat and,
Yeah.
like, a stupid, like, kind of narrow bird face.
it? Yeah, and going to the wrong theatre show and then
Yeah.
blaming it on everyone else.
I think, like, the feeling that Bill Murray gets when he looks at, like, Paul Rudd or Lorenzo Music, is the earliest example of it, would be that there's a very shallow man there. Yeah, when he sees people acting as him
Yeah.
and going like, oh, I'll do a bit of a Bill Murray on this one.
Yeah.
I'm on, man.
Or directors even going like, oh, you can do a bit of a Bill Murray, but you're handsome.
Yeah.
And it's just like, Paul Rudd, that must be a bit annoying when he met Jason Schwartzman.
Yeah.
J. David Sportsman.
Do you remember that guy I was talking about from Batman that's like Bill Murray?
No.
He's like...
Eddie Izzard's in one of them, isn't he?
No, the 1989 Batman with Jack Nicholson.
No, Eddie Izzard's in the Avengers.
So he's 13.
Mm.
He's at his house. What happens?
Like his mum had bought his lava lamp from like some sort of 60s place. He had all these young
That was it, yeah.
and yeah, like kind of went like, oh, look at this, man, it's real groovy. You know, like
That's his
she'd-
mum.
Yeah, she was like all 60s up. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
she'd seen it on the television, people talking like that. It was probably on the advert for the lava
And
lamp.
she's got to entertain, 9 kids?
Yeah, then they've been watching the monkeys and, you know, like monkeying around and
Yeah.
stuff. And like Bill Murray's like one of the oldest of the kids, like, so he's always felt like he's had a bit of power. And he's always felt like he could relate to like children, but he sort of relates to them like by talking really fast, you know.
Yeah, like he
Like-
talks to animals,
Yeah, but not as fast as
No.
he talks to animals.
but
And
still.
in actual words.
Yeah.
Yeah, whereas with animals, he just sort of goes,
Yeah.
Howard did that once. Like, that was one of the first times I've met Howard.
Oh, that's
In
why
late-
you're
later
doing.
years.
That's why you're doing that.
Yeah.
I didn't know what
He
that
just
was. a
like,
reference to.
he was just like kind of tempting a cat along, like,
Oh God.
mental, yeah.
No.
And yeah, so she brought the lava lamp back home. And you know, his dad, like Edward Joseph Murray II, was
Zilch
like,
Murray.
like kind of what's that? You know, like
Was he from
what is
Yorkshire?
that?
Was he
Well,
from
like, you know,
Yorkshire?
like you can.
Hey, buddy, what's that?
He wouldn't call his wife Buddy,
Okay. Hey,
bitch.
yeah.
Surely I can do an American accent, like,
Come on, have a go. It's not easy.
hey, bitch, what you doing with that piece of fag shit?
There's no way he said that. That's terrible. It'd just be like,
Talks like,
what is this, a thrift store?
and then like she was just like no, and she was scared of him because, you know, like he used to hit her. And he was just like kind of, but she decided it was one time to really stand up to him and be like, no, man, I really like this like lamp, and I'm gonna put it right here on the mantelpiece. And look, you turn it, and it's like he didn't want her to turn it on. So what did he say?
He said, what is this, the White House?
And then like she turned it on, and then he punched her.
Yeah.
And like he'd always encouraged Bill Murray to be a performer, and like whenever there was a fist fight, you know, instead of like Bill Murray would try to make the other children feel happier. So he'd turn into a sort of like funny sort of boxing referee, you know, like kind of like, you know, like, and the kids would watch, you know. So instead of it being, you know, when everyone's had that childhood thing. If you've got your parents, if they're both actually alive,
Yeah.
when they're sort of like shouting at each other, and you stood on the top of the stairs going like, "Oh, I wish Mummy wouldn't."
I remember my mum and my stepdad once had a spitting fight.
Aye.
Yeah. In front of me and my sister. Real vivid memory for me.
Just spit, no fists.
There's a lot of shouting and breaking stuff, but they just started spitting at each other. Like like that. It's mad, isn't it?
Should we have one of them in a bit?
No.
So yeah, he's like referee, and he's like, you know, like kind of going like, roll up, right, yeah, With, like counting down, like, you know, like, and it's quite a heavy fight, which makes like Bill Murray like more, you know, like energetic and like more trying to cover it up, I guess, like, you know, like when he's got the maracas.
Yeah, and his dad's getting like more irate as it goes on because he's making it into a joke, like he always does.
Yeah,
And his dad's like, "What am I, Jack Dempsey?"
yeah, and then he grabs, like, basically just like grabs like her by the head. Remember, his dad's diabetic, and you can't really trust him.
No.
So he grabs her by the hair and starts like smacking her face into this lava lamp. You know, like getting like, you know, wax, which is not actually turned on, so it's not hot or anything.
No.
Just dry wax.
Yeah.
And like glass around the place.
Yeah.
Bill Murray's like kind of like, whoa, 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 yeah, come on, yeah, harder, yeah, big man. You know, like, or something like that, you know, like kind of just like, who's the big guy? Yeah, ho! And it's not, the quips that he's making at his dad, they're not like quips that are like kind of, you know, direct. They're more, circumventing the truth into some sort of irony or something. Like, yeah, this is a real swell day.
Well, he can't have a serious moment, can he?
No.
Like that's why there's no real resolution to anything that he's ever done, really.
Yeah.
You know?
Or
it's all just
like,
a continuation. Of
it's
the
very
same
difficult
thing.
to resolve him.
Yeah. Well,
Like-
the only way he is going to resolve, the way I see it, is he's in all of these roles, and you see the sort of high water mark of like Peter Venkman and Scrooged and Groundhog Day. That guy.
Oh, he's at top 10 Murray, isn't he? Like,
Easily, yeah. And then every time he makes a film since then, it's like the slow decay of magnetic tape recording over itself until he's virtually see-through. That's why he's having to put... It's like the Invisible Man. He's having to put a bandana around his head because if it wasn't there now, he'd be able to see through his skull. I mean, not literally, but you know, that'd be mental.
He can see through his own skull, can't he?
Yeah, he doesn't want anyone else in there, does he?
No.
That's why when he's in the real world with all of his little fake Murrays, that because he meets them in that world.
They do pop up, and this is a thing that happens quite a lot. Like, is that there aren't a lot of people in Bill Murray's head, apart from his orbiters, really.
Yeah.
His sons.
Yeah.
So when he's in the Omega Man, like, it's even more sparse than usual, because often it's
So
how
did he get to the Omega Man? Was that when he was on the boat?
No, this is like him with his wife. After the boat, all that happened was like eventually his iris was opened and it was night time. He was looking at the moon and he was just like, And he had to paddle back using his hands, and it took ages because he dropped the oar in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he was at dinner with his wife.
Oh yeah, so this was like, I'd say this is like 6 months later. And he was at dinner with his wife. He told his wife a bit about it. But, he doesn't really like people to get that close. So he gave her the vague details. But, like, what he probably told her wasn't that dissimilar in terms of what he said to the girl at the house party. What he said was, if you trace a line through... It's just like, how you been, Bill? And he went, like, if you trace a line through infinity, you'll end up where you began. That's the thing, like, when you look at his dreams, like he had his Omega Man dream just now, or dreamscape, you would call it.
Yeah.
Because he's in there for a long time.
And what's going on?
In most of them, like, it's like, if you imagine it's just him walking around, like, say he's on the Nostromo, an alien, and, like, he gets out of his, like, kind of frozen thing, like, and then, like, presses a button, and then Paul Rudd comes out, and then presses another one, and then Garfield comes out, and that's, like, the cast of that film.
Yeah.
And then, like, but this one, he felt at peace. It was the Omega Man, and he was on his own.
Yeah.
Because everyone else in the world had died but him. And there was no more
Rudd.
responsibility.
Yeah.
For, like, Jason Schwartzman's, Paul Rudd's, and Garfield's. He sat down in a cafe in Omega Man. Because all his dreams are just films that he feels like he could have been in. Like, as an actor, he didn't have any imagination, apart from some memories that he kind of relives. And also films that he's seen that he'd like to be in.
That he could never be in.
He could if he could.
There's loads of films, though, that he couldn't be in, could he? Like, imagine Bill Murray in, like, Titanic. That'd be mental.
What, as Leonardo DiCaprio's role?
Just anyone.
As a stoned-out faced captain, just going,
Immediately. You saw, he's like the touchstone of Jumping the Shark, isn't he? He's like, you can't... Films.
Have you seen Mission Impossible 1? When
is he in that?
No, but there's a bit where we'll keep this out. But there's a bit where they get the weatherman from the Day to Days driving the train at the end.
David Schneider.
Yeah, he's on it, driving the train, going like, "We're gonna get the train stopped!"
With his mad face.
Yeah, just doing this Day to Day. I was just watching it at the cinema, and I was like,
"Did that take you out of it?"
I wasn't really in it, but that pulled you out even more. Like, how did he get in this? Who does he know? See, Bill Murray's never been obsessed with holes. He's never been one of them people who's just like, I've got to go pound a hole.
No, because he's
not,
trapped in one.
He's not a flesh tunnel kind of guy.
No.
You know what this is the most gut wrenching thing actually, is that when he's in the Omega Man,
yeah,
he sat on his own in a cafe. This is what he likes to do.
Yeah, like why would you go to a cafe when everyone's dead?
He went there to read the paper.
Well, like what? Like a paper from 6 months ago?
And it was a few days ago probably, so it's not immediate.
It was a recent.
Yeah, so it's recently, like, the world's all ended.
Yeah.
Like, it's about... Oh, yeah, I don't know. I don't know the full narrative of how he scripted it.
No.
I don't know if he does.
No.
If there is a narrative at all.
But it felt right to go and read a paper anyway.
And he sat down and read the paper, and he just looked at it. And it was just full of question marks.
Yeah.
Hashtags, question marks. Just stuff he didn't understand, like, because you can't read while you're dreaming.
They say that, don't they?
Yeah. So, like, it was just like... But he loved it. This is the thing, he actually loved it. And he was reading it for quite a while, and then he got to the end, and he was just like, what a bunch of crock.
Yeah.
And then threw it to the side.
But he still got something from it.
Well, he loved it, but he wouldn't, like, he wouldn't ever, like, validate that love. This is a beautiful, sort of sad thing about him, is he can have an enjoyable experience, but he can't validate it and say, he has to kind of like make a disparaging remark, like, what a bunch of crock. And he knows it's a joke.
You can't go,
lovely. But he felt it anyway, and he felt, he feels a lot of things, you can't take away from the fact that he's human. The thing that he doesn't like about animals, even though he likes them, all he can do is shock them or feed them or like pet them, but they don't want to come close to him. The only way they'd come close to him if he's holding some food. Like shock him, like go bow.
Yeah.
And then like
you know.
Yeah.
Like, there's no. That's the only way to make it seem like a dog would understand you if you did that. Because he would be puzzled by it.
And he's only really done that when there's another person there who can see him doing that with the dog. Except with that squirrel that he like. But then there was a whole street of people who tried to resuscitate that.
Do you think he'd talk to a dog like that if it was just him and the dog?
No.
Do you think it'd almost be like the dog wasn't there?
He wouldn't be bothered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can relate to that.
Can you?
Yeah. I used to live with a cat. I was fond of it. It wasn't. I didn't. In fact, if anything, it made me appreciate cats. Because at first, I wasn't keen on cohabiting with a cat. It wasn't my cat. It was brought in to live with me. But if it was just me and the cat, it's not like I'd be like, "How are you doing?" or anything like that. It'd just
I talk to my cat, but not all day.
Yeah, that's nice.
When he's interacting with you.
Yeah, that's
but
nice.
Like, he'll just mostly sleep in the corner. Yeah. You can have a wank. You can do whatever you like.
Yeah.
You can have a wank with your cat in the room. Who gives a fuck? Your cat doesn't care.
Because I didn't talk to my cat and I didn't have that relationship, it'd feel rude to just start wanking. Because that's all we're doing together then. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if I was like you...
I don't do it right in front of it.
No, I know. Like,
Under my sheets or something.
I'm not suggesting, it's part of an extra frisson.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, you've already built up some sort of relationship, even if it's in your own head. It's rude to just wank.
It's not a relation. It's not better wanking if, like, my cat's trying to sleep on my shoulder. That's not better.
That's not what I'm saying.
I don't enhance, like, Pornhub.
No.
To have like a pairing.
No, it takes away from it, doesn't it?
So, yeah, it's like kind of a bit awkward, if anything.
Well, yeah, because you're back in the room, aren't you?
Yeah.
You don't want to be back in the room.
You want to be watching a point of view porn video, because you're inside his head then.
Exactly that, yeah.
Yeah.
But for me, any real life responsibility distracts me from self-destruction.
Masturbation.
Or anything like that. Anything that I shouldn't be doing as a Catholic. you know.
So do you think that relates to Bill Murray? How? He's Catholic, right?
Well, yeah, you keep trying to say I'm like Bill Murray.
No.
Yeah, a little bit
When?
at the start.
When? You've never seen you do that with animals.
No, what? Oh, that thing. No, I don't do that. No, like saying like I'm Catholic, so you can relate to that, and then I said a bit about like domestic violence.
Well, that's the sort of wonderful thing about him is that, like, you know, when you think about it, you know, there's a bit of Bill Murray in everyone, isn't there?
It's humbling to think that I'm just another Paul Rudd. But so anyway, so he's at the cafe.
He throws a paper to the side, says, "It's all a bunch of crock."
Yeah.
And then, like, he goes for a walk on the streets again, you know, like, and there's a few dead bodies about, you know, just, like, dried up, you know, like, and he's had no consequence, you know, recently from it. All the dead bodies are just, like, you know,
Did he
Paul
witness
Rudd's.
it?
No, he didn't really. He didn't. That's not in the film, so he doesn't know what happened.
Yeah.
He can't imagine that bit. He just imagines everyone dead.
It's
He
like
doesn't really think about why.
Paul Rudds and Breckin Myers and
Garfield's. Just
and
like random sort of stuff, and he like now and again he'll walk past and he'll kick a Paul Rudd's head,
that guy from
and it
Batman.
was just shatter into dust. That guy, from Batman, like Jack Nicholson. Man.
No, not him.
Jack Nicholson is Bill Murray, but smiling a lot, and so is Christian Slater.
See, that's the thing. They're in the same sort of universe, but there's these godheads. Bill Murray's one, Jack Nicholson's one, and there's probably another fella.
So Christian
Eastwood.
Slater. Christian Slater is an orbiter of Nicholson.
Yes.
One of his sons.
Yes.
Yeah. Whereas like Eastwood's son would be like Statham.
Maybe Eastwood is an arbiter of what's his face? Charlton Heston.
Clint Eastwood was still like squeezing spots when like Heston was
stood looking at himself in the mirror going,
yeah. And like Charlton Heston was wanting to be the butter in everyone's cake.
yeah.
There was this thing, so he's walking down the street, kicking over like Garfields, and not really like just more casually, sort of strolling with his hands in his golf pants. Yeah, like walking along, like.
Is he? What's he got on his torso?
Frilly shirt
Okay.
and like a weird little like kind of like paisley necktie, but around his neck, not over the shirt.
Like a
You
cravat.
know when people
kind of
do
thing.
it, yeah, but he's wearing it funny, like it's like a tie, but it's like kind of like it's not a tie, it's like a silk scarf. But
Yeah.
he's got it over his kind of funny.
He's got it in like a
frilly
Windsor
shirt.
knot.
And like no bandana in this, he's got like hair, and he sort of flicks it to the side, and then like kind of. Walks
Is it like that
along.
mullet that he's got in Groundhog Day?
Yeah, yeah, exactly the same as his good mullet, but with a bit more on the front,
Yeah, like,
Yeah, like
he's
mine,
not
like-
receding.
so you can flick like
Yeah.
that. You know, like and like flick like that.
Like Ace Rimmer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like and if only you could see me do that. And then he sort of like walks, and he thinks he's in Times Square, and he looks at the street signs, and they're all you can't read them, you know, because you can't read while you're dreaming.
Are they all like question marks and hashtags as well?
He recognises what it says on one of them.
Yeah, because you can remember stuff in dreams, but you can't read.
No, but he recognises some context in there, and he has to follow.
Being in a dream's a lot like being awake as Jim Morrison. You can't read, but you can remember stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
And you're in a map as well that's
Yeah.
very small.
Yeah, like a localised
So,
sort
like-
of Springfield area.
Yeah, so I can go from beach to the Alps, but most of it would just be a crash car with an Indian in it that I made up. But not so for Bill Murray, like
No,
his
no.
is a street.
Well, also, this is a street, but it's also Times Square, and it's also inside his head. There is a level of imagination to it. Do you know what I mean?
Imagination lifted from films, mostly.
Other
but there's still
people's
this
films.
large electronic field that he can inhabit for millennia
Yeah,
at a time, which is interesting.
Yeah.
He can actually like kind of just tap into his, he's sat what you got to realize is right now he's sat eating a meal like with his wife in a restaurant,
Yeah, yeah.
maybe even saying the odd thing,
Yeah.
You know, just like kind of like going.
Yeah. What a
Like
load
just-
of crock.
Well, it's all a bunch of crap.
Yeah.
And his wife's just kind of going like, "Oh God, this is what he's always
It's
like."
had 30 years of this.
Yeah.
What am I, your wife? So you said he knows what the street signs say, but he can't read them.
He can't read them, but he sees this one and he sees it, and he looks down the street and there's a context that attracts him.
Yeah.
He's like kind
That's
of like, bloody hell. Yeah, like, and then he walks down the.
I feel compelled.
And he walks down that street like kind of just like, you know, all wobbly.
Yeah.
You know, like with his legs covered. And he finds his clothes shop. In the window, there's like just a lava lamp as a background. And he's like, oh, my mum had one of them for a bit. Didn't last long, did it?
So there's a lava lamp as a background.
No, a giant blown up photo of a lava lamp.
Right.
Just like kind of like huge, kind of like, you know, like, and it was kind of slightly animated. Cause
Yeah.
it must have been run on batteries.
Right.
And then he's just like, you know, like he does, how he gets into everywhere is just like punch a window.
Yeah.
And then he sat eating his meal in real life, and he just suddenly goes like, whoa,
Yeah.
you know, like to open
You
the
don't
door.
need to act it out. Like.
No, but he just punches to the side.
Yeah.
Like, and his wife's just like, yeah, like, I want, can I have a creme brulee for dessert, please?
What's that?
I don't know.
Anyway, yeah.
And in Bill Murray's Omega Man, I Am Legend world, he's inside this sort of like, in this changing room now. And there's a corpse sort of like, you know, like with actual blood. It's not dried up or anything like that.
Where
It's
is he?
sort of inside a clothes shop in the changing room.
Is it like in the
In the
cellar?
shop, yeah.
In
No,
the-
it's in the sort of main floor of the shop. He's
Okay.
just broken in
Yeah.
because he's been following this subtext.
Yeah.
And he finds himself in this sort of changing room because he's decided to try on some clothes. You know, he might as well while he's there.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, he's got his big sort of fancy Ray-Ban kind of glasses on, and like, he's sort of gelled his hair back, you know,
Yeah.
with some sort of fancy gel in there.
Yeah.
And like, got a massive like kind of shirt on.
Yeah.
You know, like kind of like a Jamaican shirt. You
I
know,
see,
like
yeah.
Jamaican flag.
Yeah.
And you know, and 3 colours, Rastafarian stuff.
Yeah.
But then, like, to contrast that, he's got like a pair of pinstripe trousers that completely cover his legs, and high top shoes, like yeah, really, really high topped.
Like Converse.
No, like the ones with really big heels, like really big soles.
I see what you mean. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like
a
the-
platform.
No,
shoe.
high tops are the ones with a boot, like what like a Nike trainer that the man from Terminator would wear.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, and he's sort of like, yeah, he's just going like, yeah, he's got a ghetto blaster over his shoulder and he's going like, you know, making some sort of tune. What tune do you think he would have been playing?
It'd be jump. Go ahead, jump.
Yeah, that'll do.
Might as well jump.
Yeah. He's thinking like, you know, he's just looking at himself in a mirror, and then he looks down at the corpse and there's a bit of blood, like a blood trail from where its face is, like going down the mirror. And then he realises it's not his face, it's her face, and he's like, what woman have I influenced?
Yeah.
Like, what actual woman would look up to try to be like me?
Yeah.
Joe Brand, maybe. Do you think women find Bill Murray sexy?
No.
They do, though, don't they?
No.
They say they do get, oh, he's so sexy.
They don't say he's sexy, do they?
Yeah, but we're like, kind of like, he's an example that women
But they
use.
lie, don't they, women?
Yeah, women lie. And it's a lying example that they
Yeah.
use, is they'll say, you don't have to be good looking. Look at Bill Murray.
Yeah.
He's one of the sexiest men in the world.
Whoever lived.
Who ever lived. Like, one like look from Bill Murray and you're like,
That's a
you wanna marry
lie.
him.
A lie wrapped in a lie as well, isn't it? Because you do have to be good looking, and Bill Murray isn't sexy.
You can't trust women.
No.
The thing is, you can't trust one, you know, like,
No.
I'll get a message from a woman sometimes, just saying, oh, you're great, you are. And, like, I'll fall for it every time and think that maybe they actually
Well,
just
because they're
wanna-
very skilled liars. That's their only skill. Really.
It's not fair though, because I always think that maybe they just want to be my friend.
No, they don't. They don't want to. They want to sort of trap you in some way.
They don't want to have sex with me, necessarily.
They'd rather not.
They'd rather not if they can.
But they
help
will.
it. If they had to.
If it supports their agenda.
This is a thing, like, you know, like Bill Murray when he like he's like he sees this woman's face smashed up against the mirror, blood everywhere, like, and he's just sort of like. Suddenly, the context just washes right back to him. And he's just like, who did this to you? You know, he stops dancing. And he's just like, who did this to you? It's not a joke anymore.
Stood there in his Jamaica big shirt and his pinstripe trousers.
Yeah, I really picture it. And he's just like, who did this to you? And he hears this voice, like, from behind the curtain going like, it's all a bunch of crock. It's all a bunch of crock.
Yeah.
It's all a bunch of crap. He opens the curtain, and who should be stood there? Bill Murray. And then he goes, punches him.
Yeah.
And then, like, all of a sudden, like, his eyes open.
Yeah.
He's in the restaurant. And his wife's like going, what are you doing that for?
Yeah. In that voice.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's
And he's just kind of like going like...
I didn't.
It was just like...
Because he didn't do it really, did he? Like, he didn't... If you mean to do something else...
Well, he's
but you
meaning
end up doing something bad. If you didn't mean to do it, you didn't really do it, did you?
Anyone can say that though, can't they? It was an accident.
Yeah, but that's the.
What if you kill a child? If you run over a child or something, it's an accident.
Yeah.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Is he all right then to stand up? This is something he meant to do though. Is he meant to stand up and put a cummerbund around his head?
And go
and just kind of go
to an
we're
awards.
going to the awards show, baby.
Yeah.
What would be your reaction if you were sat across from him in that restaurant? You know, like, how would you react if he just like, if you punched Sally?
How would I react if I punched Sally?
No, how would you react if you punched you, but you'd punched Sally, and then you had to put a cummerbund on your head?
Well, apart from the last bit, I'd probably argue that if you asked Sally, all of my punching of myself.
She'll lie though, isn't she?
What?
She'll just lie.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. But if you could manage to corner her and tell her the truth, because you can corner a woman.
That's how you actually get to phase 2, is it?
Yeah.
When you're actually going out. I've always tried to do it in a snaky way, you know, like kind of like, you know, like I get to this phase 2 of a relationship. I've not been having sex with them much, but that's my thing, right?
Yeah.
And like I don't want to do that, and like
it's cheap, innit?
I just want them to like me as who I am, and like, you know, like I think it's like crass that everything should be defined by like meat holes and poles, just like. Bleh. Why would you want that?
I think it's important. I think it's important to remind yourself of how sort of gross you are.
Yeah, there's a funny chemical in you, isn't there, that makes you do these things, and sometimes like
you don't see it coming. Sometimes
it just happens, and but I always feel ashamed.
Yeah,
like for immediately afterwards, and like
sometimes during as well. It's weird, isn't it, when that happens?
During, I often feel bored. I almost kind of think like, oh, this is going on a bit.
Yeah.
Oh no, I have to carry on with that, otherwise they'll think something bad. They'll think I'm not normal, and there's nothing worse than being not normal, is there?
There's nothing worse than being found out to be not normal.
Well, yeah, especially when you're trying to actually be a functioning person.
Yeah.
With like prospects of like, you know, like settling down and moving into a flat and like going like, I'm normal, everyone, look at me.
Yeah.
I'm not just some like loser. Like
Let's move to Germany.
Yeah.
Let's go Germany. That'll make things better.
Yeah.
That'll paper over the cracks.
I think it'd be a really good idea to move to Berlin. That's cool.
Yeah.
There's loads of cool clubs in Berlin. That's cool.
Yeah.
Berlin's cool.
Yeah. Or like be even more edgy and go like to like a lesser city in Germany than Berlin. That's
That'd be alright, wouldn't it?
I don't know whether it is. I think that's even more up yourself.
Do you
Why are you
think?
going Germany if you're not going Berlin? Like, why would you do that?
I think you could be on your way to Berlin,
Yeah.
but I think it's difficult to move somewhere else and establish yourself. You know, like when you're hitting 40.
But it'd be nice if people just did it without going on about it.
Instead of
Telling-
taking photos of themselves
Yeah.
there and going
Going, I'm
"Ooh,
happy.
I am.
I'm
yeah."
happy. What's more settled than someone who sends you loads of pictures of themselves telling you that they're settled?
I used to take pictures of myself and I haven't lately, but I feel
I've been doing it a bit more, to be honest.
You have, haven't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So-
need to start doing it again because I did feel a lot happier when I did do it. Because the people who've moved to Germany, they'll all be saying like, yeah, he should sort himself out. He can't be sitting there like, you know, being a crazy person all his
Yeah.
life, you know.
Why
like,
don't you go out?
Why don't you move house? You've been there for a few years, haven't you? I think it's a bit of a small place. I wouldn't want to live here, would you?
Are you alright?
You sound out of sorts.
What's up?
What's up? You alright? How about we take you out and make you feel better? We could get some ketamine.
Why don't we collaborate on a project? That'll be good. Because instead of focusing on something, we could just like put like half as much effort into something and that'll be the same.
I got some ideas, right, about a project, but I don't know how to write it.
Maybe like if you join my band, you can start writing the songs, but I'll take the credit for it because I'm like more established than you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one, isn't
So
it?
that's
a
nice.
real
Who's
one.
that? Who's that?
Yeah. I'll tell you later. So so he goes to the awards ceremony.
He's got a cummerbund round his head, so everyone just sort of accepts it, don't they? And his wife's sort of not there.
Has she gone? What? She left him eventually, didn't she?
Well, she left him that night at least, and
Yeah.
she left him eventually as well. I think it deteriorated at that point.
It's hard to
It's
take.
not, it doesn't bother him his wife's left because, like, you know, he's always got his reflection. That it's like at some point his reflection won't recognise him. You know, you know that feeling. It's not like when you don't recognise your reflection. It's like your reflection doesn't recognise you.
Yeah.